Not everyone who shows interest in your life is entitled to access to it. This truth becomes clearer as responsibility increases, because the greater the assignment, the greater the cost of misplaced trust. Many people mistake openness for authenticity, believing that sharing everything makes them genuine. But wisdom understands that access is earned, not assumed. Guarding your vision and inner life is not secrecy driven by fear. It is stewardship driven by purpose. There are people who are drawn to proximity rather than alignment. They want to be close to your momentum, your insight, your favor, or your influence, but they do not want to carry the weight that comes with it. They enjoy the benefits of your direction without committing to your discipline. When you give such people access, they may unintentionally dilute your focus or intentionally drain your energy. Either way, progress slows. Your vision is especially vulnerable in its early stages. Before it is fully formed, it requires nurturing, not interrogation. When too many people have access to your ideas, they begin to shape them according to their own limitations. Advice turns into pressure. Opinions turn into expectations. Soon, the original clarity becomes compromised. Guarding your vision ensures it grows according to purpose, not popularity. Access also affects emotional stability. When too many people have insight into your inner life, your emotional state becomes exposed to unnecessary influence. Words spoken casually by others can linger longer than intended, altering confidence and decision-making. Restricting access protects your emotional equilibrium, allowing you to respond from clarity rather than reaction. Not all harm comes from malice. Some comes from misunderstanding. People who lack your perspective may genuinely care, yet still offer counsel that conflicts with your assignment. Their intentions may be pure, but their advice may not be aligned. Guarding access allows you to honor relationships without allowing them to override discernment. Trust should be built over time, not granted instantly. Consistency reveals character more accurately than familiarity. Those who deserve access will respect boundaries rather than challenge them. They will support your growth without demanding constant explanations. They will value your presence without needing control. These are signs of alignment, not entitlement. When boundaries are unclear, manipulation finds space. Some people seek access in order to influence decisions, redirect focus, or benefit personally from your progress. They may frame their involvement as support while subtly steering outcomes in their favor. Clear boundaries limit this interference and preserve autonomy. Guarding access also teaches self-respect. When you value your own vision and inner life, others learn how to treat it. Boundaries communicate worth without words. They signal that what you carry matters enough to be protected. This attracts respect rather than resistance over time. There is a difference between isolation and discernment. Discernment does not push everyone away. It chooses carefully. It allows collaboration without compromise and connection without exposure. By limiting access, you create space for relationships that are genuinely supportive rather than superficially close. As purpose unfolds, access naturally expands, but only to those who have proven trustworthy. What is protected in the early stages is strengthened for the future. Guarding your vision and inner life ensures that when it is finally shared, it is done from a place of strength, clarity, and intentionality rather than pressure or vulnerability. Premature revelation is one of the most common ways momentum is disrupted in the lives of those who carry unusual potential. When something powerful is revealed before it has reached its appointed time, it becomes vulnerable. Exposure creates visibility, and visibility attracts attention. But not all attention is supportive. Some people observe in order to admire, but many observe in order to interfere. When power is seen too early, it gives others time to form opinions, strategies, and resistance against what has not yet fully matured. There are individuals who do not consciously intend harm, yet still become obstacles because they cannot comprehend what they are seeing. When people encounter something beyond their framework, they attempt to control it, correct it, or contain it. Instead of nurturing growth, they impose limitations. Premature revelation invites these constraints before strength has fully developed, causing unnecessary friction and delay. Opposition is not always loud or obvious. Often it appears in subtle forms: discouraging advice, misplaced concern, or excessive questioning. When you reveal your vision too early, others begin to plant seeds of doubt disguised as wisdom. They project their own fears onto your future, not because your path is wrong, but because it threatens their sense of safety. What begins as conversation slowly becomes hesitation, and hesitation weakens forward motion. Sabotage does not always come from enemies. It frequently comes from proximity. People who have access to your plans have influence over your confidence. When your ideas are still fragile, external voices can easily distort them. Premature exposure allows others to handle what they are not qualified to steward. Even well, meaning individuals can mishandle developing vision simply because they do not share your assignment. There is also the reality of envy. When power or potential is revealed too early, it awakens insecurity in others. Some will feel compelled to compete, undermine, or discredit you, not because you have done anything wrong, but because your emergence highlights their stagnation. Envy thrives on exposure. The more visible you are before you are established, the more opportunities envy has to operate. Revelation without readiness also creates internal pressure. When you announce something publicly, you become emotionally attached to proving it. This pressure can force premature action, leading to mistakes that could have been avoided with patience. Instead of moving with clarity, you begin reacting to expectations. Sabotage then occurs not only externally, but internally as anxiety replaces discernment. Timing is a form of protection. When something is revealed at the right moment, it meets less resistance because it arrives with evidence. Results silence critics more effectively than explanations. Premature revelation invites debate. Timely revelation commands acknowledgement. What is fully formed does not need defense. It stands on its own. Many chosen ones have experienced setbacks not because they lacked ability, but because they shared too much too soon with the wrong audience. This exposure slowed progress, drained energy, and forced unnecessary battles. Learning restraint is not about fear, it is about stewardship. You protect what matters until it is strong enough to withstand scrutiny. When power is revealed in its proper season, Opposition has little time to prepare, momentum is preserved, impact is immediate, and authority is recognized rather than questioned. Delayed revelation ensures that when resistance appears, you are already equipped to overcome it rather than being forced to fight while still in development. Chosen ones carry a force on their lives that is not ordinary, not casual, and not meant for public display. It is a weight that cannot be handled lightly because it was never designed to impress people. It was designed to fulfill purpose. This power is dangerous not because it harms, but because it alters. It disrupts environments, challenges systems, and exposes truths simply by existing. That is why it must be protected rather than showcased. When something is valuable, you do not place it in the open where anyone can touch it, misuse it, or misunderstand it. You guard it not out of fear, but out of wisdom. Many chosen ones struggle with this because they feel the urge to prove who they are. They know what they carry. They feel the fire within, and they want acknowledgement. But acknowledgement is not the same as assignment. Validation from people can never replace alignment with purpose. The moment you begin to display your power for approval, it starts to lose its purity. Power that is constantly on display becomes performative, and performative power eventually becomes exhausted. True strength does not need applause to function. There is a reason you have been restrained when you wanted to speak freely. A reason opportunities slowed down right when you thought it was time to show everything you had. That restraint was not rejection, it was protection. Exposure before readiness invites interference. When people see your capacity too early, they begin to project their fears, insecurities, and limitations onto you. Instead of helping you grow, they try to shrink you to a size that feels safe to them. This is why some of the strongest individuals feel misunderstood. Their power does not match the expectations of the environment they are in. They are ahead of the room, ahead of the moment, ahead of the language available to explain what they carry. When something cannot be understood, it is often judged, resisted, or attacked. Protecting your power means allowing it to mature outside the noise of opinion. Displaying power also attracts the wrong kind of attention. There are people who are drawn not to who you are, but to what you can do for them. They want access without responsibility, benefit without loyalty, outcome without investment. When your power is visible too early, it becomes a resource for others instead of a tool for your purpose. Protection ensures that your strength is used where it is assigned, not where it is convenient. Power grows best in hidden places. Roots do not develop above ground. The deeper they go, the stronger the structure becomes. In the same way, the unseen seasons are where capacity is built. Character is formed when no one is watching. Discernment is sharpened when there is no audience to impress. This hidden development ensures that when the power is eventually revealed, it will not collapse under pressure. There is also a spiritual responsibility attached to power. What you carry can influence outcomes, shift directions, and affect lives. That level of impact requires maturity. Protection gives you time to learn restraint, to understand when not to use your strength, and to recognize that power is most effective when it is controlled. Uncontrolled power damages both the carrier and the environment. You were never meant to live defensively, constantly explaining or justifying yourself. Protecting your power allows you to move with confidence rather than insecurity. You stop needing to announce your intentions because you trust the process shaping you. When the time comes for your power to be revealed, it will speak with clarity, authority, and precision without you needing to explain a single thing. Silence is often misunderstood because the world equates noise with strength and visibility with importance. But for those who are chosen, silence is not the absence of power, it is the management of it. Silence is a deliberate act, a conscious decision to restrain what could be released too early. It is the space where wisdom governs ability. When you remain quiet in moments where you could speak, defend, or explain, you are not shrinking, you are positioning yourself. Many chosen ones are trained through experience to value silence because they have seen what happens when they speak prematurely. Words released too soon invite misunderstanding. Explanations offered to the wrong people create confusion rather than clarity. Silence protects you from wasting energy on battles that were never assigned to you. Not every accusation requires a response. Not every misunderstanding deserves correction. Some things resolve themselves when you refuse to engage. Silence is also a filter. It reveals who is truly aligned with you and who is simply curious. When you stop explaining yourself, those who need constant access to your thoughts become uncomfortable. Those who only value you for information, access, or advantage begin to drift away. This is not loss, it is refinement. Silence clears your environment of unnecessary voices so that the right connections can emerge naturally. There is strength in letting action speak. Words can be challenged, debated, and twisted. Actions, when timed correctly, carry authority. Silence allows your work, growth, and progress to mature before being observed. It ensures that when results appear, they cannot be easily dismissed. What is proven quietly stands stronger than what is announced loudly. Silence also denies your opposition valuable information. When people do not know your next move, they cannot interfere with it. When they do not know your plans, they cannot sabotage them. Many delays and disruptions occur not because of lack of ability, but because too much was revealed too early. Silence creates unpredictability, and unpredictability protects momentum. There are moments when silence feels uncomfortable, especially when you are being misjudged. The instinct to defend yourself is natural, but restraint builds authority. When you remain silent and continue moving forward, you demonstrate confidence in truth rather than dependence on opinion. Over time, consistency speaks louder than correction ever could. Silence also deepens discernment. When you talk less, you observe more. You notice patterns, intentions, and subtle shifts that noise would have distracted you from. Listening becomes sharper. Intuition becomes clearer. You begin to sense when to move and when to wait. This awareness is essential for those carrying influence because missteps made by powerful individuals have greater consequences. There is also a spiritual dimension to silence. Quiet seasons align you with higher instruction. They teach you patience and obedience. Silence slows impulsive reactions and replaces them with intentional responses. It trains you to act from clarity rather than emotion. This discipline ensures that when you do speak, your words carry weight and precision. Choosing silence is choosing long-term impact over short-term relief. It may cost you temporary comfort, but it preserves future authority. The more you practice silence as strategy, the less you feel the need to justify your journey. You begin to trust that what is meant for you will recognize you without explanation. And when your voice is finally released, it will not compete for attention, it will command it. Divine timing is the unseen force that governs when hidden power is allowed to surface. What has been concealed is not forgotten, it is being positioned. Many assume that if something is meant to be impactful, it must be visible immediately. But the greatest shifts rarely announce their arrival. They emerge when conditions are aligned, when resistance is unprepared, and when the carrier is fully equipped to handle the weight of exposure. Hidden power develops depth. While unseen, it is tested quietly through endurance, consistency, and restraint. These tests are not meant to delay fulfillment, but to ensure sustainability. Power revealed too early often collapses under pressure, but power released at the right moment carries stability. Timing transforms potential into authority. There is a moment when preparation and opportunity intersect. Until that moment, visibility would be premature. Divine timing ensures that when power is revealed, it meets readiness internally and externally. The environment is prepared to receive it, and the individual is prepared to steward it. This alignment creates momentum rather than resistance. When hidden power is released, it moves suddenly. There is often no gradual introduction, no extended explanation. It appears fully formed, commanding attention without seeking it. This suddenness is not accidental. It limits interference. Opposition has no time to organize. Critics have no space to undermine. Impact occurs before debate can begin. Divine timing also redefines perception. Those who once overlooked you begin to recognize value without persuasion. This shift is not fueled by self-promotion, but by evidence. Results alter narratives more effectively than words. When timing is right, recognition follows naturally. The restraint required to wait strengthens authority. Waiting teaches patience, humility, and trust in process. These qualities ensure that when power is finally released, it is not driven by ego or urgency. Instead, it moves with composure. Authority that emerges from patience commands respect rather than demand it. Hidden seasons also filter relationships. Those who remain during obscurity are often the ones aligned with purpose rather than benefit. When visibility arrives, support is rooted in loyalty rather than convenience. Divine timing ensures that access expands only after stability is established. The release of hidden power often feels like acceleration. Progress that once seemed slow suddenly multiplies. Doors open without pursuit. Opportunities align without force. This is the reward of restraint. What was preserved in silence now speaks with clarity. Divine timing also protects from burnout. When power is released gradually or prematurely, it often drains the carrier. But when released in its proper season, it energizes rather than exhausts. The individual moves with confidence, not anxiety, because they are no longer striving to prove anything. When hidden power finally emerges, it does not seek permission. It operates with precision. It alters direction rather than asking for approval. This is the outcome of patience and preparation. What was once concealed now stands undeniable, not because it demanded attention, but because timing gave it authority. Isolation and separation often feel misunderstood because they are uncomfortable and rarely explained while they are happening. Many assume that being set apart means something is wrong, that distance from familiar people and environments is a sign of failure or loss. But for those with a greater assignment, separation is not abandonment, it is intentional preparation. It is a controlled environment designed to shape capacity, strengthen character, and refine discernment without constant interference. In seasons of isolation, distractions are reduced. Noise fades, external opinions lose their grip, and the pressure to perform for others disappears. This creates space for clarity. When you are constantly surrounded by voices, it becomes difficult to distinguish what is truly yours from what has been imposed on you. Separation allows you to hear your own convictions clearly and align them with purpose rather than approval. Isolation also exposes inner weaknesses that would remain hidden in company. When there is no one to impress and no role to maintain, patterns surface. Fears, insecurities, impatience, and unresolved wounds come to the forefront. This is not to condemn you, but to heal you. Preparation requires honesty, and honesty often emerges in solitude. What is addressed in isolation will not sabotage you in public. Being set apart teaches self-leadership. When guidance, encouragement, or affirmation is limited, you learn how to motivate yourself, discipline your habits, and regulate your emotions. Dependence shifts from people to internal conviction. This is critical for anyone destined to carry influence, because leadership without self-mastery eventually collapses under pressure. Separation also sharpens discernment. When your environment is quiet, you become more aware of subtle signals, patterns in behavior, shifts in energy, and inconsistencies in words and actions. This heightened awareness becomes a safeguard in future relationships. You begin to recognize alignment without explanation and detect misalignment without confrontation. Discernment developed in isolation protects you when your world expands again. Many people resist isolation because it feels like stagnation. Progress is often measured by visibility, activity, and recognition. But some of the most significant growth happens invisibly. Capacity increases before opportunity arrives. Strength is built before resistance appears. Isolation ensures that when expansion comes, it does not overwhelm you. There is also a restructuring that occurs in separation. Old identities that were shaped by environment begin to dissolve. You are no longer defined by roles, labels, or expectations placed on you by others. Instead, identity becomes rooted in purpose. This internal realignment ensures that when you re-enter community, you do not lose yourself in it. Isolation teaches restraint. Without constant interaction, you learn when to speak and when to remain silent. You become less reactive and more intentional. This restraint becomes a powerful asset, allowing you to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively when challenges arise. Seasons of separation are temporary, but their impact is permanent. They build an internal foundation that cannot be shaken by external change. When preparation is complete, re-entry happens naturally, connections realign, opportunities emerge, and influence expands. But now with stability, those who endure isolation with patience emerge with clarity, depth, and authority that cannot be replicated through public exposure alone.